Yo, player.
There we are.
There we are. All right, let me turn this down a little bit. How you feel?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly now. What's up with you?
Bam! New studio.
As you can clearly see, I am jacked. Bam! Sorry about that. Didn't mean to intimidate the audience, but I have been training.
You're training.
Woo-hoo! I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Whose quote is that?
Look, country music song.
Yeah, I recognize that quote, but I'm not sure I gave you a new sign. You're not commenting. What's up?
Let me see here. That looks like
you
have purchased a new sign. Jeez, my name.
Are you saying
we can't make any money? We can't make any money, man, if you keep on. No, I can read it. I just wanted to see what is up with the design. Who designed it? Was that all you?
It's my
ARM-TV HQ at the top rolls off your pen a lot easier than Travis Bagent Unfiltered is what I'm noticing. You have dabbled with the ARM-TV scribble in the past.
I'll work on that.
That was spur of the moment. We picked Unfiltered.
I was running.
Maybe it wasn't thought out. Maybe it wasn't so thought out.
I'll work on the unfiltered part.
What's your deal? Have you got a hold of any more victims? Have you arm wrestled anybody?
I wanted to say one more thing to the haters before we close out the haters. People keep that, like, you told that story and you're talking about Rockwell, Monster, Wall, Cooper Tires, and I was lost, dude. I was like, I could not keep all these people together. So I was I was pausing you because I just needed you to connect the dots. And people on the internet are like, Gary, stop being a buzzkill. Stop interacting Travis. I'm only here for Travis. You annoy me. You're crushing the story. And all I want to say to you people out there is, how can I continue an interview? I'm glad you're smarter than I am and you have all the dots connected. But in hindsight, because I paused Travis, it's allowed you to keep up. So you think you know everything. But how can I continue with a story with Travis and then 20 minutes later be like, I don't know what to ask next because I'm kind of fucking lost and I was embarrassed to say it. And I'm like, dude, you're just going to have to put up with, this is my style. This is how I am. And like we said in chapter 1, which I know your bitch ass skipped, it said Travis and I are like we're just having a conversation. He's catching me up. We're bullshitting arm wrestling. We are allowing you to be a fly on the wall. So if you think you're going to come in and tell me how to interview, which like Travis said earlier, like you could do any better. Shut the fuck up.
Man.
Hey. I mean, come on.
And too, the person who is with it without you helping, right, can be annoyed, but the 12 people who needed you to step in are very thankful, and for some reason they probably didn't they didn't comment.
They're like, Gary, don't ask questions, we can rewind if we're not caught up. Well, bitch ass you out there, you can rewind. I can't rewind. How can
I'm in real time.
I'm in real time. I have to like push pause and have Travis rewind. I mean, come on. It's driving me nuts. Okay, we're off the haters. Change the subject. I want to talk about our first sponsor. So his name in comments is GH. I won't go into details until we like finalize, but he's like, hey, I want to sponsor your show. Well, first of all, he wanted to sponsor Travis, but I'm like, I sent him an email. I'm like, do you want to sponsor?
We're the same person. We're the same person.
I said,
just tell him to write the checks to Travis Bagent, and I'll make sure everything gets divided accordingly.
So I said, do you want to sponsor Travis or you sponsor us? I wasn't quite sure. He's like, well, if you guys are together on the show, so I don't want to steal your sponsorship. But he didn't.
Travis Bagent 1 at Gmail. if anybody wants a sponsorship solely for the Beast, yes, you can have it.
Gary Stephen Roberts at gmail.com. Motherfuckers.
Anybody who's contacts Gary, there's two of us. If you contact me individual, one of us. Yeah. Go on.
My point, the reason I bring it up, and sir, Mr. Aloha, sir, the reason I haven't responded is because I have no idea how much a sponsorship is worth. Like, if you want to be on this show, clearly we're hot. I got haters. Bitches be calling me out.
Usually, I would start this at $1 million. However,
yeah.
Anywhere from $1 and $1 million,
yeah,
let us know what's up.
If you're watching the show and you're an expert on a soon-to-be syndicated 1,000 channels across the world, what to put your little product right here and say that Gary Roberts or does your CBD, how much money do I ask for this fellow? Put it in the comments, because I don't want to underbid, but I don't want to offend someone either. So, sir, I know you're watching the show. We're just trying to figure out, this is behind the scenes. We're completely transparent. We're trying to figure out how much charge your ass. You know, to be on the show. Yes, anyways, yeah. Comment below if you know what it's worth, because I honestly have no idea. So, anyways, okay. Subject 2. Bam! Last time we were online, you didn't do your homework, and I got shut down by a storm. But I was asking
Absolute worst attempt ever to do a podcast for us last time. Yeah,
it was not good. I lost you.
No problem.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
You'll work it.
So the weather here, it cut you out. I didn't hear any of that answer.
I love that it's over and it's your fault, not my fault. So I'm totally cool with that. I love you.
But I had to come back to it twofold, because since that airing, Derek, I gotta throw you under the bus, Derek Smith, because he's like,
whoa. I cannot say anything else bad about Derek. Derek is 6'9", 412 pounds, and he called me after the last interview and said, "Easy there, fella." That's all I need to know. I don't need no other information. I'm good.
Here's the thing. He said, I said, I got to talk about this. And he said, if you talk about it, it makes me look bad. And I'm like, I don't think it makes you look bad. I mean, I did bona fidely kind of disrespected my man. And I didn't mean, so he represents something for me because he lived near me. And when he started in the sport, he is exactly the kind of guy who I'm looking for today. Someone who's new, hungry, wants to get into arm wrestling. I want to arm wrestle you. Like, that's fun to me, because I know that once you've learned something, you're out of my league. Once you've learned things about arm wrestling, I suddenly can't touch you, and it's not as fun for me. Now, just to give some backstory, Derek at the tournament, I don't even know if I ever beat him. I think he beat me in practice. It was the closest I ever got. He was always stronger than me, and he was a perfect example of a guy's like, oh shit. Once you learn something, you're like, you're right there. And by talking about him last time, I didn't mean to discount, because he did send me a message. He goes, dude, I've never left the sport, man. I told you back then I was a lifer. And he's like, I see I'm still a lifer. I still love it. And I kind of brought him up in a way that, like, you know, I asked the ultimate question, can Travis Bagent beat Derek? And it's like, I didn't mean to discount all the work my man has done. And I want to talk about him, because it's like, yeah, I stepped away. We didn't even plan to talk about Derek. And it's like, he deserves, the man has put in the work, and he deserves the more airtime. And I did kind of disrespect my man. And I want to I want to undisrespect that because a big props. I used air quotes. He's like, dude, I thought we were friends, and I just feel like you. I don't know. You just kind of. You like threw away my whole career and like because I can't beat Travis. And I was like, I didn't mean to do that, man. I do sincerely. I cared about you. You were my friends. We have not talked in years, but I do remember. I mean, we had a road trip to Vegas, and I was like, I was just trying to say, it's weird for me to step away. I feel like I went back in a time machine, and when I see a guy, I still picture the guy that was like. Knew and didn't know anything, and it was like I was the closest I could ever be. And in his world, Travis Bagent was like on Jupiter, and he was like still new. And now I come back, and it's like, bam! These guys know what they're doing. They have teams. They're experts. They've been to Worlds. They've been to Nationals. They like crush. You know, they're the kind of guys that crush most people. And I just want to undo that. So I want to give my man some props. Anyways, He is. He said
he's a bad dude. He's a bad dude, and he still cannot beat me. He ain't close. He ain't in the same world as me. But I think that you understand that. He should understand that. I don't think it's that big a deal that he needs to, like, listen, he's closer than he was the first time, but I still can't see him. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So I have a rear view mirror. And I can't see Derek right now. Now, I'm not looking for him either, right? So maybe if I look real hard in the rearview mirror, there's a small speck back there. But Derek Smith is not me. He ain't never going to be me. However, he is good, right? I mean, he's real good. So I think that it's him, it's Tony Tomlinson, it's Eric Rafael, Tom Nelson. You know, listen. The state of California is as pussy a state as there is in the history of the world. So, excuse me for not caring. California is weak. Weak. I mean, every person over there is weak. So, Robbie Tofi, I guess, is up in the mix too, but there is no bad dudes in California except that Vresh guy. That's not from California, but he is in California. Besides him, there's no one else in California that's any good.
Tom Nelson, is he past his prime?
Man, Tom Nelson is terrible. He has always been terrible. He will remain terrible.
I'm interested in this fight, though. Him and Jonathan Hoffman, they want to fight or something.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying the man can't fight. I don't know. The only thing that I do know is he cannot arm wrestle. Okay? Now.
He used to be able to arm.
Never. And listen, once again, you're talking to Travis Bagent. Yeah. Travis Bagent says Tom Nelson's terrible. Derek Smith is terrible, okay? Eric Rafael is terrible. Luke Kent is pretty good. He's pretty good. I like him. Are you
saying that nobody can just trust what you say?
No, not when it comes to arm wrestling. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Like, that's like me telling you, like, yo, man, you ain't gonna believe it. You know, I got this website. I've got 1,000 hours of arm wrestling. Ain't I a bad motherfucker? Right? I am. If you only got 2 hours of arm wrestling footage, but what if I come to you and start bragging about my 1,000 hours of arm wrestling footage? What are you gonna think? Well, what you have to put it in perspective.
I know, but you say things like, "I'm Michael Todd's daddy, and he treats me accordingly." It's like. You really believe that? Or are you just
I know it's
funny?
True. I know it's true. So let's put this out here. I've arm wrestled Michael Todd 60 times right-handed and 40 times left-handed. Okay? That is 100 times. I am 98-2 against Michael Todd. Now, why the fuck would not think that I'm his daddy?
Now, why the fuck would not think that I'm his daddy?
Very well. Very well. Well, we'll get back on it. I just want to finish up the Tom Nelson, Jonathan Hoffman.
I've arm wrestled Tom Nelson 200 times, and I'm 200-0.
Yeah, I'm not talking about arm wrestling. Jonathan Hoffman, you do not want to get in the ring with Tom Nelson because he's dangerous. Tom Nelson.
I disagree. I think that here's what I think is the truth. Here's what I think. I think that if Tom Nelson had a bat, right, and he thought that he could hit you with that bat and not get in trouble, he would do it. He would hit in the back of your head and make your head maybe open up and you might never be the same again. I would not do that, right? Jonathan Hoffman, I do not think would do that either. However, when two people meet in a real fight, right, and there's any sort of a ring and there's no weapons and there's no health and there's no craziness, be careful predicting who's going to win that fight, because John Hoffman has more than once engaged in wrestling duties, right? I mean, high school wrestler, he understands. I know that Tom Nelson, because he is so short-tempered and probably quick to almost be in a street fight, I'm not saying that he wouldn't start a fight quicker than other people, but be careful when it's all actually organized. I don't know. Most people can't fight. In my opinion, Tom Nelson or Jonathan Hoffman probably can't fight. And when I say can't fight, they're not like Tito Ortiz. You know what I mean? They're both going to hold their breath and start swinging and gouging. And then, you know, it's 50-50 there.
My point is, Tom Nelson, through personal experience, I've seen how, and Tom, I do like you. For a quick story, he knew I was passing through a tournament. He waited 2 extra hours for the time he was going to leave to just give me a hug. He hadn't seen me in a long time. So big prospect. He is the closest, I feel, of all arm wrestlers, that if you push him over the edge, he's capable of doing something that could hurt you. And I just
right. You're saying that Tom Nelson is a psychopath. That's what you're saying.
You're saying that Tom Nelson is a psychopath.
I'm saying if there's a scale, Tom is capable of being,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not telling Jonathan to turn his back. I'm telling him that if he knows he's going to fight him, make sure that, you know, you look at him the whole time, make sure that everybody gets frisked down. And then I think it's a pretty even little thing.
Okay. Here's my final point on that. If you and I get really heated and angry, you know, some people are still able to maintain control and make good decisions that would not change their life forever, like kill a man. And then some people, if they're heated, you can feel they might be capable of not listening to that inner voice and doing something you know you shouldn't. Tom has always given me that vibe. And I personally would not want to get anywhere near pushing him to.
Also, too, just to play devil's advocate, make sure that you understand that just because people don't act like crazy people doesn't mean that they aren't capable of being triggered by someone like Tom Nelson. Because one thing that I find interesting about Tom Nelson is how quick he can jump time if you do something disrespectful. However, you're supposed to be totally okay when he acts very disrespectful, because he also apologizes about it right after he does it. Yeah, so, you know, I think that sometimes people get credit for getting angry and jumping time fast, right? So they say, oh, man, he's quick-tempered. Well, maybe you should be careful about the guy who takes it in, right? And then all of a sudden, he's had enough.
Yeah.
And then he can't stop, right?
Well, I think everyone's capable. We've proven, you've seen people like murder people. Some people are capable of like being pushed over the edge,
but I'm with you. Like, if I'm like you, I think, Gary, we could both get in a bunch of cussing matches without there being a fight.
Yeah.
I will fight only when you touch me. But as long as you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk, I'll keep talking. But
ooh, you just reminded me.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of, there's a clip, a Harley poll. Was it you and Tim Bresnan?
Me and Tim Bresnan, me and Tom Nelson, me and Joe Rabosa. There's a lot of shit going on.
There's some good ones out there. Oh, shit. I got to
find me and Tom went at it. Yeah, me and Tom went at it. Me and Tom went at it a bunch of times. And it's he's a strange cat, man. So I don't trust him. I don't like him. I don't want to talk with him. I don't want to talk about him. You know what I mean? Okay. I don't want any correspondence with Tom Nelson. And I hope Jonathan Hoffman whips that ass. How about that?
All right. We need to get back to the story, because I'm getting people are pissed that I keep interrupting you. Oh my God.
That is awesome. Yeah. You know what though? I don't understand why they don't need the clarification too, because when I'm listening and I hear you ask, I'm like, oh, it is important that he understands that, because there is some interesting stuff I'd like to even recap that we had talked about, but tell me where we stopped so that I can.
Okay, but before I get there, for the most part, so I keep doing this. Wait. And for the most part, I'd say I'm about 80% I hit. That when I say, wait, you give me an interesting additional fact that helps me more appreciate the story.
Understood. So
that makes
I do not feel weird about you interrupting. I think it's perfect. I think it's a great conversation on how time can get lapsed a little bit. Sometimes I'll say Rockwell when I mean Cooper Tires, and then I got to go back. So, it makes sense.
Like that one story.
I have an amazing story. This new story that I have, maybe not today, but it involves Victory motorcycles.
Yeah. I wrote down. You told me. We'll get to it. Not yet.
That is a fabulous fucking story. Go ahead.
So we talked about it before. These guys, they want these big, long episodes, but it's like, I can't put out an hour and a half.
Well,
clip.
I think we could, right? If we didn't have 2,000 views, if we had 2 million views, I think we're pumping these things out, bro.
Yeah. Keep watching.
Keep watching. And
too,
listen, I refuse to be upset about our progress. I am absolutely as happy in this relationship that I've ever been. So you keep in mind that I enjoy this, whether we make any money or not.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm cool with this.
And someone put a comment. They said, unlike some of Travis's other podcasts, which I don't know to be true or not true, but they said, it seems like Travis wants to be doing this one. He seems a little more happy, and some of the others is less comfortable. Is that true? Do you do podcasts where you don't drop any names, because I don't want to get in trouble, but have you done podcasts where you're like not really into it?
I mean, of course. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's tough to get me on this screen, right? So the fact that we have some sort of, even though it's tough for us, we still have some sort of regularity. You know what I mean? The fact is you have to understand that the other people tell me 2 weeks from now to be there at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, right? Or a Saturday at 11 o'clock. Well, that ain't the best for me. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's a complete, my life is pretty hectic. You know what I mean? I just got a lot of people.
Oh, because like Uncle Jon, they want to do live. And so you got to pre-commit.
I think I've already committed to something. I have no idea what the date is, but I have committed to Jon.
Yeah.
Jon, if you're listening, you better stay on me, bro. You better tell him, Gary, you better give me a 2-day notice, a 1-day notice, a 2-hour notice.
I'm gonna throw you under the bus here, because
Let's go.
this is important. We give behind the scenes here, 100% transparency. This is our third attempt to try to film this one. And I don't mind if you can't make it and you push. What I do mind is when Travis Bagent fucks me in that hour, because when you say we're going on at 3 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, I'm preparing. I'm making sure I got all my ducks in a row when I'm on the road. And so I've been preparing for an hour.
Hold on. You sound like Casey. You sound like Casey.
Now listen. So then I message you 5 minutes before our go time, and you're like, oh, I'm getting crushed. I'm not going to make it. I'm like, you had to have known 50 minutes earlier that you were getting crushed. Drop me a message so I don't do the pre-plan, because anyways, I told my wife, I said, the talent never respects behind the scenes.
Man, don't tell your wife shit like that, man. What is wrong with you?
Well, I tell her.
You need to keep your wife and me on perfect terms. I did not tell Casey that you broke that 13-year-old kid's arm, okay?
Well, here's the thing.
I would never tell her that, right?
I have a 6-month-old. When I have to tell my wife I'm doing a podcast with Travis, and then she sees me working for an hour.
Am I supposed to be – what am I supposed to say when you tell me you got one kid? I mean, if I had one kid, I could twiddle that motherfucker on my thumb while I did this podcast.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I mean,
the point is,
God.
Damn,
why does that keep happening?
I respect that. But you know when your time is even if you send me a message saying,
I'm afraid to admit it. Not looking good.
Not looking good.
I'm afraid to admit it when it's going down. All
right. Okay. So where we left off. Oh, the one thing I just want to wrap up. The last episode, actually, I swear to God, you said 3 times, and I didn't catch it. You're telling your story, and then you're like, I get to Chicago, and I crush Michael Todd. And I go,
I know. I realized that. I hated that.
I go, what? Yeah. And I have you gill me back. And then you start telling the story again, and then you're like, and then I get to Chicago, and I crush Michael Todd. And I was like, I didn't realize, because I'm trying to stay up to date on your storytelling.
Right.
I didn't realize I literally paused you at the exact same moment when you're trying to talk about something pretty cool.
So embarrassing.
Anyways, I apologize.
I apologize for repeating that, Michael Todd. Yeah. I showed that you are on my mind.
Well, anyways, before we go on.
That's why I've been training. I am ready to fuck Michael Todd's world up.
So I go back. You said, did you watch the video where I tell his wife,
whoa. I'm ready to fuck Michael Todd up. Yeah.
I'm ready to fuck Michael Todd up.
Well, that's what I want to ask about that, because you told me you crushed him in Chicago. So I watched the Chicago match and the final match, and it's like, it looked like 2 different.
Yeah, you look like there was one guy who was there to win. Next guy was there running the tournament, right? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So that's one of the
coming together. It's coming together.
So you're saying that tournament where you're in the blue shirt and Charles Fisk is reffing the match in the big crowd, you're running that event?
They'd been up 72 hours humping to Vegas 3 times. I had to travel to Vegas to sign the papers, come back to Vegas to set up the venue, come back to Vegas to run the event, all in about a 17-day span. Crazy.
You know, that's not on the internet.
That's why I barely won left-handed. I barely won left-handed. I mean, it was the hardest thing in the world. It was to win left-handed.
That information is not on the internet.
Well, of course not. And the thing is Michael Todd knows that information. 100% is aware of the entire situation. For him to act like everything was the same is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So I got to ask something about that Chicago match. You beat him, and then
Let's go further and say that we met in the winners bracket final four, right? We met in the winners bracket in Chicago. We arm wrestled twice. You only got video of one. So we walk up to the table. He's undefeated and I'm undefeated. I think that it's the last match. The winner is the winners bracket champion, but I'm unaware that below us, the Grippler is pulling somebody too. Whatever. So I go up there against Michael Todd. Michael Todd lays down. Says, I cannot.
The match I watched or a different match?
No, the match earlier. He says, I can't fuck with you. I'm going to try to get that second place money. He lays down. I tell everybody I'm the fucking man. I'm so much the man that the best guy you got won't even come see me. He knows it. Now you should know it. Right? Terrible. Oh. I go back, sit down, talk a bunch of shit. All of a sudden, they call my name back up to pull the Grippler. I'm like, what's this? And I mean, I was talking shit, all kinds of stuff. So I get up there and I'm like, what's this? They're like, this is the Winners Bracket Championship. So now I realize that Michael Todd's got to win 2 matches to even get back up here to the finals. I thought he only had 1 match and then I'd pull him for first and second. But we met 1 time earlier than I thought in the bracket. Well, I get up there against the Grippler and I mess around and end up fouling out and losing. So now me and Michael Todd are in the losers bracket.
Oh. Do you wait? Hold on.
Listen,
pause.
Hold on.
Pause.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
I just need to know, Michael Todd gave an explanation video why all the Travis Bagent hate. Did you watch that?
Yeah, it was more hate in the apology or all that. There was more misguided information in that video than I've ever watched any video in my life.
Okay. Finish with the story. I just need to know if you watched his version.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, but not much because he's delirious.
Okay,
every account that he has is completely, or I'm off. One of us are off, right? So one of the reasons Michael Todd laid down is because the finals of that tournament in Chicago was best 2 out of 3, not 1 match like the rest of the tournament was. Once you got to the finals, it's the best 2 out of 3. So I think he thought he had a better shot, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 or whatever it was. So he lays down, but then I lose the next match, so I'm in the loser's bracket too.
Wait, he thought you lost the next. According to that video, he thought you lost. According to that video, he thought you lost the match to the Grippler on purpose.
Yeah, I know. That's because he's retarded. All right. So he is retarded, and I did not lose that match on purpose. Okay, I just fouled out. The Grippler was strong. For some reason, I ended up in a hook with him, and that motherfucker wasn't that easy, and I kept elbow fouling. No problem. So I
the Grippler's that good?
Well, he was that day. That day he was strong. You know what I mean? But I definitely underestimated the shit out of him. Thought he was, just the regular Grippler. And I ended up, in a fucking problem, right? But I ended up winning.
Gripper.
Right. I ended up losing that match. I get down there. Now when I pull Michael Todd, it's 100% because he knows the loser's out, right? So that's when I arm wrestle him. I kill him. Then I turn to, whoever and say, get your purse and all that stuff.
So why, on that video, he leans forward to you and he says something about back pressure. You know what
I don't remember him saying back pressure. I do remember him saying, good for you. Now do that when I'm fresh. And I said, my man, we could do this anytime. Matter of fact, we could do it right now. And he says, oh, you know, I've had 100 matches. I said, that's your fault. If you was better and more efficient, you wouldn't have had all those problems. And then it led to a little bit more in there. But here's the thing. To me, Michael Todd was completely out of control that day. And it also made him the man he is today. Because I do believe that he left Chicago the same way that Alexei Vovoda left Ottawa. And they decided to sell themselves to the devil and get as big and mean as they possibly could. And that Michael Todd that showed up in Vegas was a big, mean, better version, right? On the flip side, he also lost to Nick Zena. I watched it and they didn't call it. And I also seen him lose to Dave Chafee twice before he ended up winning the 3 out of 5 because he won 3 in a row at the end. So the fact of the matter is, as big and nasty and strong as he was still the same old Michael Todd. I, on the flip side, was, as soon as I found out after I got home from Chicago, I was not the same guy, 3 months or 2 months later when this tournament happened. I was in straight up, very well paid event, running the event mode.
Wow, I totally didn't put those two together. Okay, right. So I have a real okay, I have 2 points. We spoke, I even referenced a video where I showed Michael Todd at the 2004 Nationals. He stopped I can't remember his name, but he was like, whoa, whoa. And we talked about whether that's disrespectful to the other guy or not. And that you were like, no, everyone knows. And then I watched that video where Michael Todd's explaining why he's angry with you. It's like there's Travis Bagent and then there's event Travis Bagent. And he seems to really get turned on anger-wise by the event Travis Bagent. It's like, yeah. I thought we discussed that the athletes know. To me, here's how I look at it. Because I feel it. If I go up to, when I was actively arm wrestling, when I go up to a table and I'm just blah, I lose 100%. The only way I ever win a match is if I turn on that, the aggressive Gary, who can get a little mouthy, maybe annoying, a little piss you off at the table. But it's the only chance I have to win is when I'm in that zone. And I feel like Travis definitely has a zone that you get in. So does Michael Todd. And he's when he's talking about you and why you're not friends, it's like, oh, Travis is an asshole because he blah, blah, blah at a tournament. And I'm like, doesn't he know how to separate the hanging out with Travis at the bar or Travis at the table? I don't see why he doesn't know that that exists. He takes it so personally.
Yeah. Well, I think that he's not mad at me. He's mad at our community's perception, right? The perception that I will go in there and tell everybody that he's a bum and that I'm better. I have no problem with him not liking that. I understand why he doesn't like it. I'm just telling you how I feel. I don't care if I'm in your wedding. I don't care if we're out to dinner. I think you're a bum and that I can beat you every day of the week. Every day.
We hope you like the content. Thanks for stopping by. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Now click that little bell icon so you get notified. This was Gary Roberts and Travis Bagent live.
Damn it! Do something else. Don't ever say them 2 names to me.